Welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast in which I start recording before I decide knowing what I'm going to talk about. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. I think I'm initially, as of my last recording, planning on finishing out the week because I'm pretty sure I am capable of doing that. But I started recording. I'm like, should I talk about movies today? I was just having a conversation with somebody like seconds before I press record on this that about like starting another video project. So that's just kind of a thing I was considering talking about. It's kind of like, I don't know, that's a little bit of filmmaking that I've actually done and have like hands-on experience with. But other than like two things, I guess it's really not an expansive selection of work, Also, I have my windows open, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret it because the wind might be annoying, but at least it's no leaf blowers. You're still gonna hear the fucking traffic, though. How annoying. How annoying. So, I guess we could finish out the week, right? I've been doing what I watch. I think my next recording is the thing I need to speculate on because it's just, I'm trying to get into the groove of things. So, we'll figure that out. But for today, let's continue with my killer week of watching movies last week. Some fantastic films, genuinely. I really lucked out. And this is only 2 days, mind you. I did Monday through Friday in my last episode. And then this one is Saturday and Sunday. So just to kind of give you a taste of how I progress through or watch movies, I feel like it's hard for people to believe that I'm capable of watching 16 movies in a week, but it's not impossible at all. It's actually super fucking easy. I'm pretty sure this was a light week in a sense. Almost. Probably not, but like, it's probably an above average week because I don't always get to watch more than one film during the week, every day during the week. I usually am, I don't want to say stuck, but it's usually slightly too late to start a second film, and sometimes I choose entertainment over sleep. Which is a thing I struggle with in the past, but something I need to stop doing because it's bad. So I guess because I don't really know what I'm talking about, I'm already kind of in it. I'm just gonna jump into Saturday. It's kind of like Saturday afternoon-ish. I got up early, and Saturday is my D&D nights. So lately we've been watching a lot of movies, and lately it's been themed. We're doing like a pirate campaign. So I spent like the first 2 or 3 hours I was awake, like browsing the internet trying to find pirate-themed movies to watch at D&D, and I like cultivated a list for them. It was fun. It was a lot easier than I thought it'd be, weirdly enough, but that happens like later in that Saturday though. So after I finished that, it was like noon, 11 o'clock, and look, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm at work. I think it's kind of stupid to talk about a podcast on a podcast considering that's like a third of the things I listen to. And considering how often I'm listening to things, it's a pretty large amount of time I spend listening to podcasts. It's probably even more than a third. I spend full weeks only listening to podcasts. Sometimes never listening to music. It happens that way. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So this week I started, or a couple weeks ago, I started listening to an old podcast I want to catch up on. They have 9 years worth of things to listen to. And right before the weekend started, they announced in an old-ass episode, an episode I listened to, that they were going to watch Bad Lieutenant. And I am a huge Abel Ferrara fan. It's only been for a short time, basically since January of last year when I first found Miss 45. But even then, I wasn't necessarily in it for Abel Ferrara. I would just like the movie. It wasn't until... How many of his films have I watched? Not that many. I watched Miss 45. And then I probably watched it again because I probably watched it like 3 or 4 times in 2025. I was really into Miss 45. I still am into Miss 45. I own 3 separate copies on 3 separate formats from 3 separate countries. How cool is that? That I could say that sentence and it'd be 100% true. 3 copies of the same movie on 3 different formats from 3 different countries. And I decided that I'm not done. If I find more like international copies of Miss 45, I'm just gonna fucking buy them because they look cool. But I'm not talking about Miss 45, at least not yet. I'm talking about Bad Lieutenant, and that a podcast I'm listening to is going to talk about it in an episode I'm listening to this week. Ironically, even though my decision to watch it was because I'm like, I've ran out of chances to go into it blind. Basically, either I was gonna not watch it over the weekend, or when I do watch it, I was either gonna watch it for the first time over the weekend, or when I watch it for the first time, I won't be going into it blind, because by that point I would have listened to people talk about it for 45 minutes. And I decided that with my free time and my ability to watch whatever I wanted that day, I decided to use it to have an Abel Ferrara double feature, because it would be both the first time I watched Bad Lieutenant, and then this is the first time I'm watching Miss 45 in 4K. So Bad Lieutenant, I mean, I just spent 5 minutes describing why I watched Bad Lieutenant. Or why I watched it that specific day. Because that's the thing, is I was going to watch it anyway. It's weird, because I always do this with directors, right? I watch all their less... I didn't even watch all their less. I've actually only watched his top 8 films, except for that one porno that's surprisingly really fucking good. I'll watch it again one day. You'll probably hear about it, because I got into a whole argument about the Bible because I brought up this porno, and I think it's the funniest shit ever. Especially since I eventually, quote unquote, won the argument. Anyway, just know that Abel Ferrara, when he makes porn, it's biblically accurate porn. And that's fucking weird, but that's he's so good at it. Anyway, Bad Lieutenant is a film that is as simple as the name is. There's a lieutenant, there's a cop, the rank of lieutenant, and he is really bad at his job. He is a piece of shit. He does every drug he encounters. He confiscates drugs off of people just to take them. He doesn't report anything. He assaults women. He just short of rapes these underage girls. Borderline, I wouldn't say worse, no, but crazy. That was a very intense scene. Yeah, it's a film about like the worst guy ever, and he's a cop, so it's even worse. And because it's like, yeah, because these are people that do exist. This might be like an exaggeration, but it is not that big of an exaggeration. It's played amazingly. The bad lieutenant he doesn't have a name, it's just LT, or lieutenant. It's played by a guy named Harvey Keitel. I don't really know. He's in a lot of Tarantino films. Not a lot of, a few. Oh, actually a lot. 2, 4, 5, 4. I can't count. I also don't know which ones aren't. Anyway. Some older dude. I've seen him in other films before. And it's just a really interesting film to watch. Because, Abel Ferrara, when he makes a film, he's really good at glorifying sleazy acts. Making you kind of like root for the person that's, out killing somebody, or, well, that's usually what they end up doing, is murdering someone in some horrible way. But he makes it justifiable and like understandable, and it makes you excited for it. You're like, hell yeah. Like that's why I referred to in my last episode with Taxi Hunter and Miss 45 is a superhero movie, because it carries the same energy of just vigilantism in a very cool way, a very positive way. And that's not what happens in this film, because that's kind of, oh yeah, I mean, I only described one film there from Abel Ferrara, but he has The King of New York, he has The Addiction, New Rose Hotel. Like, he gets you, Fear City, he gets you to like, maybe not fall in love, but sympathize with these pieces of shit. Some of these like horrible, like, people who are in the most illegal lines of work possible. And he's capable of just letting you like enjoy the time with them and not feel grossed out. But Bad Lieutenant sticks out in that sense because he's doing a lot of the same shit. Granted, sometimes worse, but other times not nearly as bad as other films that he's depicted people doing things in. And yet, I'm able to feel so violated and disgusted by seeing this man just, I mean, all those things I said. Like, he does I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna get into it yet, actually. I'm gonna skip that sentence, because that's a whole rant in itself that brings me into a conversation that will lead up to the last film I talk about today, if I have enough time for it. But he makes you like normally fall in love with these horrible people, and Bad Lieutenant is a bad lieutenant, and you fucking hate him. And I should probably tell you, like, he's a cop. He's probably doing cop stuff, right? He does do cop stuff. His the main objective of this film is that a nun was horribly raped in a church. And you see the crime scene. It's gruesome. It's really bloody. And it's not fun to imagine whatsoever what was done to her. It was really crazy. the crime scene that was built for this film. But a nun was horribly raped, and the lieutenant is tasked with finding the rapists. Spoiler alert, he found them. But that's kind of not the point, because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do any police work. He does do police work. He shows up at crime scenes maybe 3 times in the film, but every time he does it, it's to take evidence or steal the drugs that are on the site, or make something like, just, I can't think of the word that they use for evidence that's not usable. But what was I talking about? He's a bad cop. He's a mean guy. He does drugs. He finds the rapists. Rapists did bad stuff. It's really just, it's a heavy ass movie. It's not something you want to go in going like, oh, I'm gonna have a good time with this, because it's not a good time. But then the most astounding thing happens, where this person that verbally and visibly violates both the viewer and people in this film. I use the word violate very specifically, because it's not just gross or disgusting. It's almost actively attacking you and slowly eating away at whatever's looking at it. It's hard to explain exactly, but you can't watch a man masturbate at a girl using his, power of authority and not feel like a little self-hatred. But then, yeah, like I said, the film changes. This guy sucks. But he has this, and maybe it's just me, maybe I just got into the character a little bit more because of this, but, maybe it's not the film trying to do it, but, I can't remember the exact order it's in, but I'm going to say it in this order because I think it makes more sense that way. He's talking to the nun in the church, and he's like, don't you worry, sister, we're going to find these assholes, and we're going to, make sure that they get what they deserve. And she's like, I'm not mad. This woman was hospitalized and possibly put into a coma because of the trauma she received from this raping, and she goes on this whole monologue about forgiveness, and she just outwardly, casually, and wholeheartedly forgives the 2 men that raped her. And it was more than one person, just so you know. And by the time you meet them, you hate them just as much as the lieutenant does. At least for me, because after he has this conversation with the nun, he's just lost. The lieutenant is so lost. He cannot comprehend forgiveness in a situation like that. Not in general. I think he can comprehend forgiveness in a very general sense, but he can't comprehend the forgiveness of such a heinous crime of violence and so he can't comprehend it. And then, like I said, I don't remember the order it happens in, but that's a thing that happens in the film, is he talks to this nun. He's telling her that justice will be had, and she's like, I don't care, because I've already forgiven. If I saw them, I'd look them in the eye and smile, or whatever the fuck. I don't know if she actually said that, but that's basically what she said. And the lieutenant has a breakdown, like an absolute, like, the most out of options guy reaction possible. It's usually associated with like an overreaction or like a boy meltdown, or like where it's almost like a whimper, scream, and a cry simultaneously. And in like a teenager, it would result in some like wall punching, some holes in drywall kind of situations. But he has this breakdown in a church, and it's just so intense. He has this vision of Jesus silently staring at him, and he's just begging this man to be forgiven for what he's done, let alone the shit that... Because I think that's what he's struggling with, kind of, is like he's seeing like the worst thing possible happen to somebody and this woman forgive them. And meanwhile, I think he continues to do bad shit because of the mentality of like, there is no forgiveness for what I've done. I might as well keep doing it. And that's not like a great way to look at things, I guess. I've been talking for a long time on this film. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. This is why Abel Ferrara always gets me to write a fucking 10-paragraph essay on Letterboxd every time I watch a fucking one of his films. Because I can speculate such oddly specific things, and I don't know, his films do that really well for me. So I'm gonna move on. Bad Lieutenant is an out... Oh, no, I didn't even talk about The Thing. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I may not be able to get through all these films. I'm so sorry. But we're still on Bad Lieutenant, because I didn't even get to The Thing. My most... The most, like, intense reaction I usually have for anything ever. I'm pretty sure, like almost positive, I watched Zoe Lund shoot up heroin on screen. There's no denying that she shot something up. That's something I cannot deny. I know that those were real syringes. That was a single cut. Those were that was needles penetrating skin. That was syringes being plunged. That was something being injected into somebody's arm. It's going to be a tough thing to get through. I genuinely might spend like half an hour on it because it's just such an intense topic for me. So yeah, I'm almost positive I saw someone get injected with something. Zoe Lund is an actress whose heart exploded at the age of like 27 or some shit like that in France. She is she's Miss 45. That's the most famous thing she's ever done, and she wrote Bad Lieutenant. So like that's like, I'm kind of not just in it to watch Abel Ferrara films. I'm in it for Zoe Lund. Like I'm kind of that's a huge part of why I watch his films. Is his close connection to her. So, she's known heroin addict, didn't die of a heroin overdose. She actually switched to cocaine, which blew her heart up, which is kind of fucking crazy. But, she's in this film a couple of times, and her presence is fantastic, by the way. You can just tell that she's in a scene without her even being on camera. She speaks poetically and very philosophically, and it's very nice. It's a very nice role up to the real to life heroin doing. So you watch her my arm is already starting to hurt. I hate that. Um, you watch her shoot up, and she's fine with it. She's, out here, I guess. I don't know, whatever heroin does. And then there's a long single shot of the lieutenant, because the lieutenant's been doing drugs the entire time. He's smoking crack and meth and just whatever, literally any drugs he comes across, he does. It's the most like dare awareness kind of shit ever. Like the way I was talking about Ebola syndrome and how that's kind of like a wash your hands kind of thing. This is like an anti-drug thing where it's just all in on showing you every possible thing that could ruin your life, and he does it. But he ends up getting he doesn't shoot himself up. Zoe Lund shoots him up, and it's all in this single long take where the camera is like imagine you're staring down on somebody lobbed over in a chair getting shot up with heroin. You're at that angle. Like, if you were sitting in the chair, you'd be at your front left quadrant. Or that's where you would be. Staring down at this person in that chair. I hope that wind isn't too bad. I've been trying to check my thing, but it's not horrible. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so it's a long shot of this man getting shot up. And, granted, you don't see what's being put in the syringe. That's the only thing that's not in the shot. But what is in the shot is him being tied off. His veins being very, very visible. Like I'm very bad at spotting veins, and I was able to pick that shit out. And then she picks up the syringe, she does little smacks, classic heroin in a movie, or maybe it's what you actually do. And oh my god. Yeah, she just pops that needle in, and she does the thing that they do, and I know it's probably actual heroin culture or whatever, but they do it in Breaking Bad. That's where I learned it, where you like suck out a little bit of your blood into the syringe filled with heroin, so that I guess it like pre-mixes with your blood before it actually gets like shot into your veins. Maybe it's so you don't shock your system, or does it get clogged or something? I don't understand why you do it. I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm like wiggling around in the car, just so you know. That just the idea of talking about this is really intense. But she does the blood thing where she sucks out a little blood to mix that heroin inside the syringe, and then just plunges it. And it's a fast plunge, but it takes forever at the same time. Like I was grabbing my face and like basically, if I wasn't in a seat, shaking and waving my knees around and trying to distract myself from the pain building up in my arm, it was, I would have been rolling on the floor, just crying. It's basically what I was doing. And it's just so fucked to consider. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't even say that. Like, it's not. I can't get into it. I've already have, but I can't get that into it. It's just really, it's one of the most, it's the easiest way to get this reaction out of me. It's one of the few times I'm ever left like gagging and freaking out and like writhing in my seat and whatever that empathetic pain I feel in my arm, I don't know how to describe it. there's a few different stages. I described it in my review of like when I see that blood get pulled out, I can feel suction. And I know that's probably not how it works because I've gotten blood taken before, and if it's done right, it doesn't actually feel like suction at all. But I feel the removal of part of me when that blood is pulled into the syringe, and I can feel a pierce that's probably nowhere near as deep as it actually is, because those heroin needles are itty bitty. Those are barely breaking the skin. They're just going into they're just going into the veins right under the surface if you're smart about it. But I'm now clenching my arm. But I begin to feel a pierce that cuts through my muscle down to my hand, and I can feel like a blood, so when you get blood taken or like an IV in your arm, and then they take it out and they put that like bundle of gauze on it and tape it over, and when you bend your arm, you can still feel the pierce, but it also feels restricted and weird, like the bulge of gauze is a part of your arm and you can't bend it all the way because there's a big clump of mass just like blocking you. It feels like that under the skin. Like, that's just my reaction to seeing heroin done in a movie. It's weird that I get that extreme about it. I've never done heroin. I do have a general fear of needles, but there's something about heroin use in films that just gets me to be like this. Anyway, this was a double feature, an Abel Ferrara double feature, with my second film being Miss 45, a film I have seen many, many, many times. Not as many as like childhood favorites, but nearly 10 times now. And this was my first time watching it in 4K. That's the main reason I double featured it. I probably would have done Driller Killer if I didn't have a copy on its way at the moment. But I do have a Blu-ray and a DVD and a second DVD of Driller Killer in the mail right now. How fucked up is that? Miss 45, I feel like I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it but who knows? We'll see. I keep saying that about things, but we'll see. Miss 45 is such a blast. And I hate saying that because Rape Revenge is one of those... It's a rape revenge film, right? So that requires a woman to be raped. At least generally a woman. I don't think I've ever seen a male rape revenge. At least one that's been taken seriously. I think I've seen one film where a man gets raped and it's taken seriously, but I genuinely can't remember what that is. I would love to remember though, because that's just, something that should be done more, because that's a lot more about not being believed. And I mean, it's always about not being believed, but there's that extra layer of like, come on, bro. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the male stigma of rape or whatever, but there's a rape revenge film, but the twist is that she wasn't only raped, she was raped twice within like the same hour by two completely different people. And she never sees those rapists ever again. At least not alive or in person. She does end up killing one of her rapists, like immediately as she's done being raped. That was kind of like the official setting off point for the film. And again, another slight difference that I find with the rape revenge film and Miss 45 being a different take on it is that even though there's 2 rapes, which on paper sounds so heinous, and it is, it's a completely fucked situation. And from what I read in the Arrow 4K booklet, one of the few sentences I read is that Zoe Lund did in fact, like, was a victim of rape mere weeks or months before this film was made, or she was casted in it at least. So, like, she took the role very seriously. But she's raped twice. But yeah, so the big difference with it is that the rape is like, and again, this is so weird to say because it's so contradictory to the idea of a rape revenge film, but the rape is so non-exploitative. It's the rapes are over within 8 minutes of the film, I believe. I believe by minute 8, the rapes are complete, and she is just set off on her quest to stop men. Which is the plot of the film. She gets raped twice, and she becomes like a vigilante turned supervillain that kills men for being grody and just like existing. And it's awesome. It's fantastic. It's such a great experience. But it starts off with 8 minutes. Well, not even 8 minutes. The rapes are each like 30 seconds long. Maybe the second one's about a minute long. But like, I really am not trying to undersell rape and rape revenge, but I'm just trying to say that this is not your standard rape revenge, because like before this I watched Last House on the Left and the really infamous one, I Spit on Your Grave, and those were painful. Like, those were really, like, it had me questioning if the film really wanted the woman to get revenge for the rape. I feel like the rape was more glorified than the revenge. And even if it is empowering in some way, shape, or form, because I heard that the woman, Keaton, really enjoyed being in I Spit on Your Grave, which is really interesting because it looked like such a painful experience. But I think that just means that I appreciate her performance more. Maybe I need to watch it again, because I remember saying I was very objective about that film when I first watched it, and it was a very interesting experience for me. But Miss 45 is not like that. There's very little exploitation. All right, before I finish that sentence, I don't know what the line between exploitation and regular violence is, or just regular acts of stuff, because, you know, I guess towards the end she's wearing a sexy nun outfit, which is not a spoiler. It's on the cover. One of the best posters ever. It doesn't matter which one you're looking at. It's one of the best posters ever. Not her in the nun outfit specifically, just any Miss 45 posters is one of the best posters ever. But she goes insane. Or at least that's how I sell it to people. It's I also tell people that it's she got assaulted or attacked, because somehow, well, like I said, saying 2 rapes in the same day is such a turn off. It's such a scary concept that I'm pretty sure if I were to tell anybody that outright. So I say assault, because it can mean a lot of things. Maybe that's amoral of me, but I feel like it's also anyway, let's not get into that. So she gets raped twice. The second guy has a gun. The first rapist is the director, Abel Ferrara. which is hilarious. Kind of. You know, in anyway. It's just cool to see him because he stars in his first film too. Like, he stars in his own movies. And he's great. He's a good actor. I don't know what he's like now, but my buddy said he was a really cool presence in Marty Supreme, so that would be the reason I watched that film, is to see Abel Ferrara be threatening as like an Italian old man. He's the first rapist, the second rapist gets killed. And it's a film about trauma and like anxiety. That's really what it's about. It's not about the raping specifically. It's about this woman who's mute, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is a mute woman. She cannot speak. And she lived in New York City. And she gets raped twice. And her reaction is to kill men that feel threatening to her, which ostensibly ends up being basically all men. Just their presence alone is a threat to her at some point. It's a building like phobia that she's got. And I think the film depicting anxiety is such a perfect use of anxiety. Like, it's a perfect way to show it. Because I'm trying to think of something. Alright, so there's a point where Thana is the main character, by the way. Miss 45's character name is Thana. She is a seamstress, and she is getting pretty distracted. You know, like most superheroes do. They get worse at their day jobs because they're getting a little too focused on their debauchery at night. So she's like not doing as well at work, and she like burns a blouse or something like that. And everyone, well, first the boss is like, "Are you all right?" And for some reason that like him asking if she was all right prompts every woman in the vicinity to also look up at her and be like, "Oh wow, is Thana distressed? I should go approach her and ask her directly if she's distressed." And it puts, and I don't know, maybe it's because I can sympathize and I understand this exact anxiety, and it's exactly why Silence of the Lambs has some of the best like POV shots in like cinema history. Is that feeling of anxiety of being stared at. And this film, it does it multiple times because Thana's mute, right? So she can't like tell anybody to shut up. She can't, like, without being a piece of shit, she can't push you out of the way and like run off and like attack you or whatever. Like, you're surrounding her going like, "Are you all right, Thana? Thana, are you all right? Oh my god, what's wrong? Are you like, what can we help you with something?" And it's almost like straight up it's being attacked. It's the feeling of being attacked, of like every angle around you is just threatening you in some way, of like, basically, I mean, in her case, she can't reply. So she's being berated with questions she literally cannot answer. And it's very uncomfortable. And the film also uses sound really well. Of basically the entire film being something I love, the music is definitely a standout. I believe the composer's name is Joe Delia. Joe Delia, right? Joe fucking Delia, I wrote. Our usual for a regular Joe fucking Delia, yeah. He has been around making soundtracks for Abel Ferrara films since his first film, since Driller Killer. And he just knows how to make music that works for a film. Because there's so much amazing music in here. But the best part about it in my opinion, other than that the looping saxophone track at the end of the movie that I could listen to for hours on end. Damn, it's fucking... Yeah, you're not getting the rest of this weekend, I'm sorry. This looks like it's the double feature. Damn, that sucks. I wanted to get through some of the other ones. We'll see what happens. I'm still gonna push through other movies. I'm not gonna stick to the double feature. But Jesus Christ, of course I lost my train of thought with that. She hates men. Anxiety isn't... Oh, Joe Delia makes good music. The anxiety that the music produces. Every time... and you don't have to see it, because the music can tell you for you. Like, they work hand in hand. It's literally, cinema at work, is pictures and sound working together, moving together in time, or whatever the fuck. There's this saxophone that's like just blaring. It's like, bwah, 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 bwah. And it's really distressing and in a really bad tone, and it's almost breaking and like cracking, like it's almost like a squeaky kid voice. But it's just like, it's like a heartbeat, and it's her anxiety building and building and building, and it's such a perfect representation of not being able to handle a situation like that. Like, and that saxophone blares not just for when she's like getting anxious, but when she's getting angry too. So like anytime her emotions spike and she's becoming a little bit more frantic, a little bit like loss of control, and it's very good. It's I guess a way to describe it, if I really wanted to ruin it, which I'm sorry, it's like in Kill Bill when the bride sees somebody she's mad at, and it zooms in and goes bwah, 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 but without the red filter, and it's not as in your face about it. It's more or less just an arising detail. Oh shit! The film is fantastic though. Like I can't really say without just like doing what I'm doing of just being... Is the word pedantic? Is that relevant here? I don't really know. But it all leads up to... God, I didn't talk about this well at all, because the whole thing is, it's not just about anxiety and stuff. She is killing men that make her feel threatened, but then at some point there's a turning point where she starts killing because she wants to. It's not about killing bad men, it's just about killing men. And they show like situations that are slowly growing and growing and growing into a point where things get like out of hand, and then it turns into like a school shooter moment that is like the most distressing 10 minutes you'll ever experience in a film, and it's probably only about 3 minutes of footage. That's an exaggeration, but that's kind of what I'm getting at. But yeah, it ends on this crazy moment that's just like a massacre of men, and it's so powerful and really distressing, and it's the only time Thana gets a speaking line, and it's the last thing that happens in the film. It's beautiful. Miss 45 paired with Bad Lieutenant. If you want to feel like shit, but like in a really beautiful way, that's the way to do it. You get to see male genitalia. You don't see women genitalia, just so you know. Do you? I don't think so. You probably see some tits or something. Anyway, moving on. I went to D&D that night. Jesus Christ. Let's see what I can do. Because really I just want to get to the last two films. It's kind of what I'm shooting for. Everything in the middle is kind of meh. Not meh in the anyway. I went to D&D and I brought that list of films. I brought 11 films, one of them being the Pirates of the Caribbean film, so I figured that didn't count. So technically 10 films. Pirates of the Caribbean would have been the default if nobody wanted to watch any of the films I brought. But I brought a list of 10, 11, and I had a vote go of what to watch, and we picked, we had a double feature. We picked Michael Caine's The Island, which I don't think I have a lot to say about. Mostly because I was playing D&D when I watched it, so I can't give you a lot of details. But I can definitely say that what I saw is going to prompt me to watch it again and probably buy it because it was really cool. The special effects were really amazing. They were very out of nowhere. I hadn't, because I walked into D&D saying I have 10 pirate movies for you, so I was expecting pirate antics, and I wasn't expecting high gore and like intense violence and automatic weapons, but it's a semi-modern take. It's semi-modern because it takes place. It came out in 1980, so it's like 40 years ago, nearly 50 on the better half of the decade. But it's about Michael Caine and his nephew. They're both like gun nuts. They love guns. The first like 10 minutes is them talking about guns, picking guns out to buy, shooting guns. Like literally just like showing that this kid loves guns, and Michael Caine is a supporter of guns. But I think he's also like, I don't know, maybe gun control. I didn't really get that part, if there was, but they like guns, and they go on like a trip or something like that. Yada yada yada, a bunch of stuff I didn't get. This is exactly why I kind of want to gloss over it, because the yada yada yadas, I kind of hate that idea of like it's unimportant because I didn't see it. But I just outright didn't see it. Michael Caine and this nephew child go to an island in the Caribbean, I believe it is, and they encounter like a tribe, a borderline like definitely kind of racist tribe, but like in the Peter Jackson's King Kong kind of way. It was those kind of like natives that are just vaguely a little bit of everything, so that they're basically Native Americans, but they're kind of just savage humans in the most respectful way possible, which obviously it's not. But it's 1980s, so they don't care. So they go to this island, they encounter this tribe, and the adults like get enslaved, and the kid is brainwashed into being told that he can be like a pirate king if he like killed Michael Caine or something like that. So this little white boy is becoming like the king of pirates through the objective of killing the people around him or something like that. It leads to some boat antics that was really fun. I think all the ocean scenes were shot fantastically. That was kind of when I got into the film, is when they started doing high seas stuff, and I started seeing like ships with like 15 sails on it, just like filling up a screen with big red canvas, and it was very cool. And I didn't realize that I liked boat scenes like that as much as I did until then, because it gave me a very similar feeling to the water scenes in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where it's whimsical and fun, but also like lurking evil, kind of like Stuart Little with that boat race and the evil boat, how it has that music, but it's still lighthearted because it's a children's movie. Yeah. the Michael Caine like breaks out, and then there's this massive fight at the end. I really hate talking about this, honestly. I should have just skipped it. But there's a massive fight at the end between the tribe and like these pirates. Damn it, I really shouldn't have spoken about this at all. Well, I just want to describe the end because it was the coolest fucking scene ever, and it's kind of, other than the opening scene being horribly violent, the closing scene was also horribly violent. And it was just a great way to sandwich the film, and almost everything in between doesn't matter because of how good the parts I saw were. So the last scene is Michael Caine finding a 50 caliber automatic turret and just unloading an entire belt of bullets into this crowd of pirates, slaughtering them in like in a very extended shootout. Like, he fired every round available in that gun. It was very crazy. So then the second most voted on film for that night was Project A, a film I was super excited to bring to D&D, because I have never known Jackie Chan to be a director, and this is written, directed, and starring Jackie Chan. So not only is this a Jackie Chan film, it's also a pirate film. So it's a Hong Kong production, like a kung fu movie. I don't know if kung fu is the right word, but it's a martial arts film that is also about pirates. So it has all the choreography that Jackie Chan is known for, but set in like a pirate world, and it's so cool. Jackie Chan is like part of the Imperial Army or something like that, and he's sent to infiltrate the pirates, but he, by the end, ends up sympathizing with the pirates or something. And like this is another thing I missed, because I, again, was at D&D. I only caught the second half of the film, because by the time it was into it, by the time I was into it, it was already half over. So again, I wish I wasn't really talking about these, because I totally regret bringing it up, because it's just me going, I don't really know, I'm pretty sure it's good. But the parts we watched were fantastic too. Like Jackie Chan is just so good at doing stunts and action sequences and stuff. And we watched it dubbed, which was really fun. I had a discussion with my buddy about like when like multilingual films being dubbed, and how like Italian films film with all their actors speaking their native language despite a language gap, and then because no matter what, they're just dubbing it over anyway, so they want to do it the way that people are most comfortable, and it gives off a vibe, and that's a similar, like, it's good. So we were just talking about that, and how Jackie Chan is probably the only person who actually voiced his dub, because he is also speaking Cantonese, Mandarin. I don't know which language he speaks, actually. I think Cantonese. I don't know. But another awesome film. I totally recommend it. Next is Sunday morning. My partner is back, so that I watched a bunch of films in a row that I was kind of independently chosen by me, except for, I guess I still did choose the stuff for D&D. I just had people vote on which ones to watch. But Sunday, my partner came back home, and I got a Tina Fey, Paul Rudd film, Admission. I just blindly put it on. Apparently my partner liked it. I figured they would, but apparently they've seen it before, which I should really start expecting that more often. They've kind of seen like every film from every actor they like. But This is a film where Tina Fey plays like a Harvard. No, is it Harvard? It's the other one, Princeton. She is the recruitment lady for Princeton, and Paul Rudd runs some school that just started. And one of the Wolf brothers is like a gifted kid that normally wouldn't get into Princeton because he's on paper not what Princeton would want. But the whole film is like convincing Tina Fey that this kid is worth it. It also has to do with like adoption, but that's kind of a background plot that kind of just drives the main plot forward. It's pretty funny. It's an above average comedy. Like I've said in the past, comedies are tough for me. I don't really know when I'll like a comedy or not, but this one was a pretty safe one. It's Paul Rudd and Tina Fey are both people I really like, and it wasn't like a creepy film, you know. There wasn't any weirdness going on that made me uncomfortable. It's a film that definitely both fully understands and doesn't understand college recruitment at all. And I say that as a person who has never been to college for more than a month. So, you know, you could take that to the bank. But yeah, the wolf child is, you know, he's pretty gifted. He's a smart kid, but he's smart in a... Oh, right, he's self-taught. That's his thing. Because he wasn't a great student because he didn't know how to be taught, because he was parentless or something, so he learned exclusively through himself. They called it an autodidact. I've never heard the term before, but I'm assuming that means like learned how to read on your own. Self-taught. But he's really smart and passionate about learning or whatever, and he's trying to get into Princeton. And Tina Fey thinks he's her son. Paul Rudd also thinks that. Paul Rudd is simultaneously falling in love with Tina Fey. It's pretty standard stuff, but it was well made. It wasn't dumb in any way that was making me like dislike the film in any way. It was a solid watch, totally worth it. 2013's admission. Then I put on The Bad Guys. My partner, the Bad Guys 2 came out, and I was like, hey, you want to watch this? And they said, why? We haven't even seen the first one. Turns out that night I put it on, it was late in the middle of the night. I put it on as a falling asleep movie, and I just ended up staying up the whole time. So I watched the entirety of the first Bad Guys film, and was like, hey, you want to watch the second one? Not realizing that my partner never watched it. So I put on the The Bad Guys. And this is a decent film. I'm pretty sure it's DreamWorks' take, like their attempt at fighting back against Zootopia, because it's all that kind of like borderline fetishistic animal stuff, just because of like how the animals are depicted in human forms, but it's also just like an innocent children's film about a world that has talking animal people. It's a cool take. Although I didn't rate the film as high as Zootopia, I think I do agree with my partner that I like The Bad Guys about as much as I do like Zootopia. It has about the same charm, but it's literally Zootopia from a different angle, where Zootopia is about like a cop, an aspiring cop going to a racist city or whatever and starting a race war. This is from the perspective of criminals that are modern depictions of fairy tale characters. So like the main character is literally just a rehashing of the big bad wolf, and he's aware of it because he's the big bad wolf, and he's like, for centuries I have been a bad guy. No matter what I do in the real world, I will always be the bad guy because I am the big bad wolf. And he says, we may be bad, but we're so good at it. That's actually not. That's the quote I pulled from my review. There's another quote where he said that, like, they're only bad because people see them as bad, and that's the only way to live when you're seen as bad. Kind of, you can't redeem irredeemables. Irredeemables being, any criminal ever. So it's I guess it's kind of showing the same thing of like people seen as ostensibly evil are actually good, just told in a different way. It had some good visuals. It's an animated movie, by the way. It's DreamWorks. Talking animals and stuff. But it was fine. It's totally rewatchable. Obviously kid friendly, but has some adult jokes in it. It's DreamWorks, so they're allowed to be a little edgier than Pixar and Disney. But yeah, that's The Bad Guys. I liked it. We watched it. It was fun. Then I put on. My partner went to bed, and oh wait. So my next film is Ballet. I actually started the film at the beginning of the day, but my partner didn't want to watch a black and white Japanese film, so I bookmarked where I stopped and finished it later that night. So I put on Ballet. Ballet is fantastic. Oh man, it's directed by the guy who did Tetsuo, and I understand why people never heard of it because Tetsuo is so popular. But there's no I haven't seen Tetsuo to actually know this. But there's no reason that this should be overshadowed by Tetsuo. Because there's no way that Tetsuo is that much better than this. Because this film is outstanding. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because I didn't watch it straight through. And I genuinely lost a little bit of momentum putting it on halfway through the film. There was a genuine. I thought I can recover. I thought it's better to do it earlier in the film than later in the film. I did it like 40 minutes in, and it was detrimental because although I loved every aspect of it and it was amazing, I was actually confused when it ended because I looked away for a second and the credits were just rolling, and I think it's because my confusion and uncomfortableness with giving it a 5 is simply because I didn't watch it all the way through in one sitting. But Ballet is about a man who wants to kill himself. His girlfriend killed herself in his home with a gun, and his goal, the objective of the film, is to find a gun and kill himself with it. And it sounds kind of boring if you say it, as a kid from New Jersey saying, yeah, a guy got a gun and killed himself with it. Because that's not it. Now, I'm not a Japan expert. I barely know anything about it. But I do know that guns are not very common in Japan. There's a reason that swords are still used in gang fights. And it's probably not exclusively because of the lack of guns. It's probably also about how torturous and, traditions and whatever. But guns are not common in Japan. So when this man sets out to end his life using a gun, a very specific kind of gun too, like the same kind of one that his girlfriend killed herself with. I don't remember what it was called. A royal, a Captain Royal or something like that. So he sets out to try and find a gun. He goes to a guy and is like, yeah, let me buy a gun off of you. He says, yeah, it's fine, that's fine. And he pays him like an obscene amount of money. And he brings the gun into the bathroom. He's so excited. He opens it up. It's a water gun filled with dirt to make it feel like the weight of a real gun. So we got fucked over there. Then he maybe that was the second attempt, but he tried to buy a gun a second time, and the guy just took his money and ran off with it. That might have been the other way around. It might have been that first, and then he got the fake gun second. But he keeps failing at finding these guns, so he decides he's gonna make one. And he gets obsessed with. I mean, he's been obsessed with guns the entire time, but you see these visions that he keeps seeing of just flashes of parts of guns going off. Sorry, you probably don't even. It probably cut off mid-word for that. My partner just called me, so I actually have some time. I'll be able to talk about these films for a little bit. Sorry, I don't know where I was. Bullet Ballet. He got a fake gun. He didn't get a gun at all. Getting dicked around trying to find a gun. He decides to build a gun, and he's obsessed with these guns. He researched how to make it. He's already building a gun from raw materials. He's not ordering parts, which he tried to do. He emailed people over the internet being like, hey, can you send me a gun piece for piece through the mail so it doesn't get flagged as a gun? And he tried all the stuff. He did the things and spent a lot of money trying to do the things, but it fails. So he decides to try and make a gun, and he makes a gun, and it's really fucking cool. I think he fucks it up a couple of times, and it's not necessarily the best thing in the world, but it works for the most part. And this is a big chunk of the film, was him finding parts of the gun, building it, trying to use it, realizing that it wasn't strong enough, which was the big problem. Is I think his bullets didn't have enough gunpowder, or his ignite or whatever it's called wasn't strong enough. But whatever, or maybe his bullet wasn't shaped right because it was technically just a bead. But whatever it wasn't strong enough. It hurt people, but it didn't work as a gun. So, he does some cool antics with it, and it looks cool. It's a really cool fucking gun, because he's trying to model it after the same gun that his girlfriend killed herself with. So it looks like a revolver. It is a revolver, but it's handmade. This is the guy who directed Tetsuo, right? So he's good at making metal look like metal. Even if it's not metal, he's able to do it well. It might not even be him specifically. I think it might actually be that one woman, Kai something. Sukawara. I don't know her name. I don't know her last name. But the homemade gun doesn't work. And he meets this girl. Don't remember exactly the order that it happens in. I think he actually tries to rob the girl with his fake gun, but fails. But she gets him wrapped up in the gang, like the Yakuza. He's looking for a gun. No, hold on. I skipped a step. Sorry. Before the Yakuza, he meets a woman who has a gun, the exact gun that he's looking for. And she says, "I'll give you this gun if you marry me." She's like from China or something, and she's afraid to go home because she has like an abusive husband back home or something like that, or there's a war going on. She's afraid to go back home, and her life is better in Japan. And the only way to guarantee she can stay there is to marry somebody. So she marries him. And in return, he is given her gun. So he has a gun now. He's excited. I'm pretty sure he got ammo for it too. I don't know. They never actually show him deal with ammo with that gun, I don't think. But he goes to rob somebody with that, I think. And it ends up with him like running into the Yakuza through this girl, who reminds me a lot of the main character from Mirror's Edge. And the Yakuza, they basically try to get him turned into a hitman, and he's like, "Do I get a gun?" And they're like, "Yeah, you get a gun." He's like, "Cool, so I will be your hitman. I will kill a person and then I'll kill myself." Or maybe he's just gonna try and kill himself after he gets the gun. But he plays along with the Yakuza because they promise him a gun, and that's his goal. And through the process of doing all this and getting the gun and finally getting up to the moment where he can kill himself, I'm pretty sure, realizes he's in love with the other girl that he ran into, the Mirror's Edge looking girl with big eyes. She has very big eyes. She's a adorable looking person. I hate to say it, even though she's leather punked up. That's the face she got. But Ballet, there's not, being that I'm not Japanese, I feel like there's a lot that I probably miss culturally with it, other than the fact that I know guns are hard to get. I find that Japanese films are always somehow able to be more philosophical and like thought-provoking. Like there's not many times in non-Japanese films I can say where there's characters that just stare at each other for 30 seconds at a time with it cutting back and forth without saying a word, and it's somehow conveying a message of like worry or comfort or something, you know? Like there's something about the way Japanese films work, and you know, maybe there's other international films too, I just haven't like made the connection, but I definitely don't feel it with Italian films that I've seen. Like I don't think Italian films make me go like, oh wow, this is so fucking, like, this goes way deeper than I thought it would. Some definitely do, but like something about it, I don't know. Someone once told me that you know, watching things in Japanese only seems better because reading the words forces you to be a little bit more involved with it. Whereas something in English, you're capable of looking away and still being able to understand something, so you give yourself that room. But with like something you don't speak the native language of that you need to read the subtitles for, it doesn't matter if the acting is good or bad, or if the film is good or bad, because you're reading the story and playing a lot of it out through your head. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I speculate that there's something there with that. Something with the Japanese filmmaking that isn't understood, especially in Hollywood filmmaking. I don't know about modern low budget filmmaking. I only really watch Maya Gunhilda, and even then I'm kind of lacking. I don't think I've watched anything for a month on her. But anyway, time for the last film, our final film of the week. Sunday, the last 4 films were Sunday, but Combat Shock. This was just another one I threw on because I had 90 minutes, and I didn't want to go over 90 minutes, so I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. Plus, the same episode of the podcast that I'm going to be covering that's going to cover Bad Lieutenant is also going to cover Combat Shock. I might as well, watch it and have some opinions formed before I got there. And Combat Shock is so fucking good. Actually, hold on. Did I even say anything really about Ballet other than describe what it's about? It's amazing. It's beautiful. Oh, I did. I said it was like cerebral or whatever. It's very effective. Yeah, Bullet Ballet is beautiful. The title is just as poetic as the film itself. The poster is amazing. The acting is great. The special effects are outstanding. It is totally justifiable to be in black and white. Anyway, Combat Shock. I had 90 minutes. And a podcast I was about to listen to anyway was going to watch it anyway. So I figured, why not? Gives me a little bit more to look forward to throughout the week. But Combat Shock is about a man who fought in Vietnam and is now living his life, 18 years after Vietnam was over? 15 years after Vietnam ended, or he came back from Vietnam. It's this man and his wife and his baby on the verge of starvation, just trying to figure out how to find food. This isn't like, oh, there's nothing in the house except food I don't want to eat kind of poor. This is truly like the only thing he has in his fridge is rotten milk. The only thing that they're feeding their baby, because all they have is softened breadcrumbs, because that's the highest calorie thing they have. It's a really depressing film. It's really fucked. I kind of claimed it as a double feature with Combat Shock and Bullet Ballet because of the 2 different ways that trauma is dealt with in these films. With Bullet Ballet, it was about a man being traumatized by things he's experienced and internalizing it and trying to forget about it, right? He's trying to disappear and not have to deal with the realities of life and attempt suicide through that. I hate biker groups, honestly. I hate most motorcyclists. Sorry if that's you, but you're kind of a douchebag for splitting lanes and shit. I don't care. So Bullet Ballet is about internalizing and trying to disappear and erase history. And disassociate, separate from the world. And combat shock is about being stuck and incapable of escaping your past, and resenting your past, and outwardly hating the things around you. It's very much like two halves of, granted, very different experiences. One is the Vietnam War, and one is watching finding your dead girlfriend's corpse. They're two different experiences, but they're both trauma, and they're both extreme reactions of that trauma. And the film really gets that through your head. The way that I use this term, or this sentence, I don't know, term a lot. It's an attack on your senses. And I use that for for Miss 45, for example, with the way the saxophone attacks you, and the same thing with Driller Killer attacks your senses with music and visuals, and in Combat Shock it does the same exact thing. It's showing you the grimiest, most disgusting, everything in this film is coated in grease and grime, and it's so disgusting. It's like I said, I wanted to take a shower after watching Bad Lieutenant because it made me feel gross, but this is slimy. Every surface of everything, even everybody's skin, everybody and everything is just dirty. The clothes, everything, the walls, the people, the outdoors. It's so depressing, and the music doesn't help because it's just droning synthesizers just digging into your brain, just stressing you out as much as he's stressed out. This is a man who is traumatized by his past and is on the verge of death, of starvation, of literally going days without food, considering consuming rotten milk just because it's calories. And he doesn't have a single dollar. He has a baby who's also starving, a wife who is starving. It's such a dire situation, and it hurts to watch. It's really, really, really powerful, and not in the dare awareness kind of thing that I've been joking around with Bad Lieutenant or Ebola syndrome. It's just harsh. I don't know. I forgot what I was talking about, but I know it's about Combat Shock, and it's any aspect of it disgusts me. It hurts to watch. Something very important though. Because I want to make sure I get it in before I finish this up, because I'm getting towards too long. Remember I mentioned that whole I'm afraid of heroin, and I'm pretty sure I watched someone do heroin in Bad Lieutenant. I also oh my god, I can't believe I watched that. That was so fucked. So, I don't remember what the main character's name is. Peter, Albert, Frankie. Frankie. Uh, he's walking around town and he meets up with his buddy, a local junkie. Oh my god, my arm hurts so bad right now. I'm so sorry. Oh. So he meets up with his junkie buddy, Mike. He is disgusting. He's just like a homeless man. Like he's, and I don't want to say just like as in like, but that's the easiest way to describe him. Is he's wearing the same clothes he's been wearing for a week. He's probably been outdoors that entire time. He's dressed warm, but only because there's a bunch of layers of old raggedy clothes on him. All of his limbs are covered up because of track marks, and also, because just suffering outside. Like, he just is telltale junkie on the street, has nothing but a will to get more drugs. And Frankie meets up with him and he's like, hey, you got like money or work or anything? And I'm pretty sure, oh man, Frankie's such a good guy, dude. He deserves a hug, because he has this really gross discussion with Mike about how he's like, hey, if you come across any money, throw me some. No, he doesn't even say that. I don't think he says that at all. He's just like, hey, I'm going to go look for some money. And Frankie says to him, like, I'm going to give you some if I find it. Like, he and two other people that he is obligated to feed, and he's still willing to say that a portion of what he finds will go to him because he cares about it. And that's really cool. But Mike, he becomes like his own character. He splits off after that. They don't ever talk again, I don't think. Mike ends up messing around with people who Frankie end up meeting later in the film, so it's kind of, that's how they intermingle. But they never meet back up again. So Mike is just up on his own, and he meets up with the antagonists, which are loan sharks, which are the bad guys, because they're the only people making money, because they're the only ones who have money, and they're the only ones that are taking money from the people who have no money. So it's like they are the reason, it's the problem. Where am I going with this? Mikey meets up with them, and he trades them something. Oh, he robs a woman, right? That's what he was doing. He offered Frankie to split whatever he found on a woman that he robs, that he just saw like in the passing, and he's like, no thank you, but I'll give you money if I see it. And Mikey goes off and robs this woman, and then sells the jewelry and stuff that he robs off of her to the loan shark for heroin. And then this is where we get to my biggest freak out of the weekend, because this man buys, I'm pretty sure it's heroin. The thing is, he doesn't like cook it, or he doesn't snort it, he doesn't smoke it, he doesn't do anything like that. So he has, it comes in like it's like a wax paper wrapping. It almost looks like butcher paper. And he rips it open like a soup packet. And he rolls up his sleeve, right? He rolls up his left sleeve. And I've never done heroin. I've never seen someone actually do heroin. Maybe, depending on Bad Lieutenant, which I might cry if it was real. Genuinely. But he rolls up his arm, and I only know this because I've worked with somebody who this has happened to. And probably has happened to since, because it's like that she was just in that kind of situation. But he rolls up his arm, and his artery is infected. Oh my god! And it's running all the way down his forearm. And as he rolls up his sleeve, you're seeing it go up and up and up, and then it reaches the bend of his elbow, the inner nape of his elbow, and there's just this 2-inch scab, misshapen, on the inner half of the bend of his arm. and oh my, it just gets worse. It gets so much worse. So he exposes this wound. And he takes he's in like a pile of trash in an alleyway or something on the side of a building. There's trash everywhere and rubble. And he reaches down and he pulls up what I'm pretty sure is a wire coat hanger. You know, like the metal ones that people jokingly say, well, not jokingly say you can use, but, you know, abortion kind of wire hanger. He picks it up off the ground, he unwinds it, and he just starts picking at his arm. And he's digging, he's pulling back a scab, he's exposing. At first I thought he was letting, because I actually didn't know he had drugs on him at the time. I thought he sold it for money. I thought, because he actually didn't bust open the bag of drugs yet. So he's picking at his scab, and he starts squeezing it, and this juice, this off-colored, yellowish green pours out of his arm. And he smiles and starts picking at it some more. And maybe some clean blood comes out. I doubt it. But then he just rips open that bag, like I said, like a soup packet, and just pours it onto his open wound. and he just starts rubbing it in, and that's it. And the camera just sits on him for I don't think it's one straight shot. It might have zoomed in on his face and cut back, so maybe he broke continuity in reality. But this is just a straight, you're looking at this man holding his arm out flat with a big wound of green juice coming out of it that he just rubbed, I'm pretty sure, heroin into. And he just ODs and dies right there. And you watch it for minutes and minutes, and I'm the way I'm reacting now is so minor. I was genuinely if it was daytime, I'd be screaming violently out loud. I was able to mask the volume of my voice, but the intensity of it, I could not. I was fetal position, I was rolling around, I was turning away. I think I definitely screeched a little bit. I made a noise of some sort, but it wasn't that loud because I know my partner didn't wake up. They were in the other room dead asleep. But I was freaking the fuck out. And it's just such a wild scene. The thing is, that's not even the wildest scene in the film. That's just the thing that got the biggest reaction out of me, because digging at old track marks in your arm with a coat hanger you found on the ground, I don't love it. I'm not a fan. Yeah. It was not a good day. It's not a good weekend for someone who watched these films who is afraid of watching people do fucking heroin, because you definitely do see that to some extent, and I definitely I think there's a life where I could live without it and I would be happier. Right. So that's not the end of the film. That's like a side plot that ruined me. I was so hung up on it. I couldn't handle it. So that happened. But there's a shootout at the end with those loan sharks. They try and kill Frankie, but he ends up going insane. The combat shock of his paranoia and his PTSD and his stress about eating, his lack of eating, his memory and imagination flying off to visions of Vietnam, which are oddly preferable to watching this dude walk around the most depressing city ever. Like, the London in Threads is in better condition than the city he's walking around in. If you understand what that means, I'm sorry you've watched Threads also, because it's probably a triple feature with this and Bad Lieutenant that would just make you want to kill yourself, and I'm totally going to do that one day. I'm not going to specify. It's the movies I meant, not the killing myself. That would have been a joke. Alright. So there's a shootout because Frankie goes insane. He finds a gun. He starts killing people. And then he goes home covered in blood. He might have gotten money off of the loan sharks. I really hope he did. I think he did go through their pockets, but I don't know if he got anything out of it. But he goes home. His wife is like, "Oh my God, you're covered in blood. What the fuck happened? I bet you didn't even get another job." Like, she was logical, but she was also kind of a piece of shit. I think that's just like a little bit of misogyny built into the movie to simplify the wife into like the nagging wife that made him go insane. But like, she had logical points. What she said, she just said it rudely. But with her yelling at him and him starving and the baby crying, he kills them. He shoots his wife in the stomach twice, and when she didn't die immediately, he yelled at her and shot her like 4 more times. 3 more times. No, he shot her a total of 4 times. Because I'm pretty sure I counted the bullets. Because I felt like there was something off about the amount of bullets he shot. But I think it was 2 and then 2. I'm not going to count bullets out loud because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong now that I said it. But he shoots his wife dead and yells at her for not dying immediately while she's gagging on blood. Then he goes into the baby's room and just shoots the baby. The baby is probably one of the few things in this world that has made me gag and actually had to stop eating because of something I looked at ever. I think the last time that's happened was when Charlie in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia drank paint on that episode where they do like a Saw reference and Frank locks him in the basement. That was the last time I gagged. Or no, he like bit a rat's head off or something. Or he ate a bug. It was something in the episode that Charlie ate that like disgusted me to my core. And things like that never really happen. I'll feel like a deep disgust, but I'll never get like revolted to the point where I can't eat while I'm watching it. But this baby, because this is a huge but barely spoken about thing, kind of spoken about thing. He was in Vietnam, so he was exposed to Agent Orange. And then he came home and had children. And there's a point where she's like, "You didn't tell me that you were exposed to Agent Orange, or else I wouldn't have had kids." And it shows the baby. And the baby is not just like slightly deformed or anything, like not something that modern day would be like, that's like basically inhuman mutation. that this baby is. This is like a slimy mask with these bug eyes, and like he doesn't grow, and his cries echo like an alien. Like it's really just a bizarre, gross looking thing, and they don't linger on it for a while ever. The first time you see it, it's for literally milliseconds, just to kind of like show the baby that you're looking at. I guess just to show that there is an actual baby, because up until that point, I wasn't convinced that an actual baby was in there. I thought she was crazy too, and she was just holding a doll. But there was a baby in there, and it was very mutated and very inhuman. And she was also pregnant as well, like with a second baby, which was just even more horrible that he shot her in the stomach. But so he shoots this horrific looking baby, and I hate saying that, but this is truly like monster movie level, like, I don't know, just slimy creature. Shoots the baby, picks it up, brings it into the kitchen, throws him into the oven, and turns the oven on. And this isn't like implied, like it isn't like you looking at the upper half of a man who you are pretty sure is carrying something. You see this man carry the corpse of this dead alien baby, and you see him throw it into, like, you see the body get tossed into the oven, and you see the door slam closed, and possibly like a limb or something gets caught in the door. Not that it gets the door caught or anything, it's just like peeking out a little bit, but like it's that, like it's, you see everything. And then this man sits down at the table, waits for his baby to cook, because he's hungry, right? He's been having visions of Vietnam, but he's also been convinced that he's been in the forest the entire time, the jungle. His insanity is to the point where he doesn't even know where he is, so he thinks he's still at war. And he's hungry. So he's both, in a sense, doing what he was asked to do. He stopped their suffering, I guess. But he also got fed. Or at least, yeah, he got fed. He didn't get to actually eat the baby. He didn't get that far. He pours some rotten milk. I don't remember if he was doing it in cereal. For some reason, I vaguely remember him eating it out of a bowl with a spoon. Yeah, he had cereal. I remember looking at the box and going, wow, the cereal boxes for certain brands really haven't changed in a long time. I'm pretty sure that was there. It was a Kellogg's box, I'm pretty sure. Might have been that movie. Dude, I watch a lot of movies, so sometimes those little details blend. And it makes me seem like I don't actually pay attention to things, but it's really just all of this information being flown out at once, and I just try and catch it as it comes out. You know, I don't know if that's a perfect way to describe how thinking and speaking works, but that's kind of like the episode of Fairly Odd Parents where he's in the internet and he sees the emails getting sent out different tubes and caught by different things. Like, that's kind of how I form sentences. But yeah, so he consumes this rotten milk in some way, shape, or form, and then you hear the police knocking, and he kills himself. I told you I wasn't going to count the bullets, but I do want to at least tell you why I wanted to bring up the counting of the bullets, because I was pretty sure he was out of ammo. And I would have loved, even though it would have been the worst fucking shit in the world, I would have cried for this man if he was out of ammo. But I was waiting for that film to end with him pulling the trigger against his head, which, it's not a spoiler, he puts a gun to his head. it's the banner on Letterboxd. Like, it's the picture, the default banner for Letterboxd is this gun pointed to this man's head. And just imagine if he pulled the trigger and there were no bullets left. It would have been truly heartbreaking. And I don't know if I could have... I don't know what could have come out of that, but that was amazing. I mean, just the thought of that would have been amazing. But the ending, the bullet was there. He did blow his brains out. It was very explicit. It was very gory. It was very amazing. Someone on the reviews I read was like, they should totally remake this with a budget, but I think that would ruin it. Plus, they would probably have to make it about the Iraq War. Which could work. That's interesting. Anyway, that was my week. That's the rest of my week, at least. I haven't decided what the next episode is going to be, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be what I watched. At most, it might be me like selecting 4 specific films I want to talk about or something. I'm not really sure. But the next episode is not going to be what I watched, because I have, as of this week, nothing left to talk about for last week, because I completed last week as of right now. That the last thing I saw before I went to bed Sunday night, minutes before I went to go lay down, was that man kill his child, throw it in the oven, and then shoot himself after eating rotten, chunky milk. So, I don't think I have time to recommend anything specifically, but look at my Letterboxd, because everything that I recommend from this week, I gave 5 stars. Or from this episode, I should say. Which is only 2. So I could have said it, but now I wasted enough time that you won't hear me say it. That's my own fault, and that's something you're just gonna have to live with. So, I didn't set up an email because Tastes Like Tea is taken. So I'm using an email I've already had that's linked to my YouTube account. Anyways, it's in the description. But if for some reason you want to send me an email, I don't know why, but it's anythingbutted@gmail.com. Literally just anythingbutted@gmail.com. I'm not going to spell it. It's 3 easy to spell words. And I'm short on time, and I'm dumb and just talked about movies for 2 hours. So enjoy this extended episode that, I don't know, words and things. Remember, this is a podcast about me, for me, to me, by me.